Good news, everybody. This is Phototech coming directly to you through the power of the internet and via the YouTube video sharing platform. And this morning, the Nintendo NX was revealed as the Nintendo Switch. We all know this basically now, but not everyone knows this in the world. So spread the word, keep spreading the word. And it is, let's get this out of the way first and foremost. Eurogamer is correct, as well as many other sites. As for how I feel, it was one of the possibilities I considered, but when the Akun Morpheus 300 was pulled out of the shadows of the corner of the internet, I kind of like stopped and said, Nintendo kind of doesn't like to do what other people are doing, so this may be just a reason why they might not go this route. But then there's also the possibility that Nintendo was working on this for ages. And by the way, Nintendo has been working on this concept forever. It probably was where they were originally kind of intending and going with the Wii U. But at the time of the Wii U coming out, the technology quite wasn't there, so we got this, which is a perfectly good system in itself. There's a few other thoughts about it I can give. I'm not entirely certain as to the size differentiation between the Wii U gamepad and the Nintendo Switch, but my best guess of it is that it is essentially, if you were to remove this top portion and this bottom portion from the Nintendo Wii U gamepad and go edge to end to end, minus the top edge, that is roughly the physical size of the system itself. That is the mobile unit. There is also a dock station. It seems to be a little thick or beefy. People are questioning whether there's added components inside there to boost everything up. Considering the physical size of the dock in which the Nintendo Switch pad goes into, or the screen goes into, I would say most definitely there is extra stuff inside of the dock that boosts up the processing power of the Nintendo Switch. You're gonna notice I'm gonna focus on things that everyone else has not focused on yet, and talk on them because everyone else is basically repeating the same bits of news over and over again. In the case of Polygon and Kotaku, pointing out that Bethesda and 2K Games have not confirmed their games for the Nintendo Switch. People are kind of freaking out. Even though we saw NBA 2K17, I don't know my basketball games too well, but I do know Skyrim, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, and that is definitely that game on the system. It is the special edition. What I can say is Nintendo is notorious for its incredibly strict NDAs, non-disclosure disclosure agreements, and Nintendo is known for its restrictive policies on transmitting information. So you say YouTubers, we're watching YouTube. You're watching a YouTube channel. This is why you're not seeing images of the Nintendo Switch, or video, because Nintendo tends to go a little overboard. I could speak of the Nintendo Switch as being the next coming of Jesus Christ, and Nintendo will still claim the money off my channel, which is funny because they would basically be just getting 2 pennies to rub together. But and money is not that big of a deal for me, but as far as things are concerned, I rather not have the hassle of having a potential negative mark against my channel, which then creates future issues if I seriously do move steps forward. So playing super I'm playing super safe, okay? Also, going back to another point, it's not called the Nintendo Duo and it's not called the Nintendo Focus. Uh, as far as name is concerned, on the system, I'd probably back up to the other point after I get done with this one. But as for this name is concerned, the Nintendo Switch is kind of punny, yet like the Wii and the Wii U, but it is not as nearly clever as the Wii. My personal feeling was that the Nintendo Switch, as well as many other people have brought this up before, was potentially going to be called a Wii something at some point. Several people have suggested, or in the comments below, comments on various videos and articles, of the Nintendo Wii Go, uh, which is even funnier and punnier. Uh, is funnier and punnier. Yeah, that's gold right there. Uh, and I could most definitely see that. And no, honestly, it probably was the fact that Nintendo felt that there was a fundamental short circuit in the Wii brand as the Wii and the Wii U, and they had to come up with a new name for their gaming system. And they originally intended on it being a Nintendo Wii named system, but this happened, and then they moved on to something else. And they compromised. I would have much, as I preferred before, I would have much preferred something along like uh, the Nintendo Mega Entertainment System, or the, you know what, considering that as a portable system, calling it something like the Game Boy, but then we would have uh, SJWs and feminists freaking out over the boy part. So that is that is a whole other thing. Now, personally, uh, I'm gonna say what I was gonna say before uh, about the NDA part. Nintendo has a really strict NDAs and really strict policies about information. So the reply that Kotaku and Polygon got was basically uh, copy paste, insert these words, hand it out. Okay, it was essentially video game developers were told not to say anything more than this, and they just simply gave Polygon and Kotaku that. Uh, it's that simple. There is a good chance that Skyrim Special Edition will be on the Nintendo Switch, and in the case of NBA 2K17, an exceedingly good possibility of that too. Uh, for the simple fact that, if anything, when Nintendo makes a decent system and it sells okay, EA will produce games for it. Typically, just the NFL Maddens and the NBA 2Ks. That's not even EA. That's actually 2K Sports. I I'm not a sports person, but simple as to say that the NFL games and the NBA and the MLB games by various publishers will appear on all the platforms until some point is defined that it's not worth doing it. In the case of the PlayStation 2, uh, something like 15, 20 years after the system launched, actually probably like 15 years, had to look up the factoid to be more exact. Uh, But there's a whole bunch of things. By the way, I will get a Nintendo Switch. It's just a matter of working the budget. I will be getting a Nintendo Switch. I am going to put money away, put a reserve down on it, and get it. In the video, by the way, everyone has noticed that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, uh, Mario Kart, NBA 2K17, Skyrim Special Edition, a unknown Super Mario game, and a new Splatoon has been seen. The Mario Kart 8, everything is from what all indications, it is Mario Kart 8. It has new DLC, has new characters and items added to it, and a few new features thrown in, but it appears to be Mario Kart 8 straight up, or potentially Mario Kart 9 that just happens to have some of the race courses from Mario Kart 8. Not entirely certain, but there is most definitely a few new things, and Nintendo announced 50 plus developers that are going to be developing for the system, and a whole bunch of other things, but Nintendo did not give too much more information. There was no real serious specs given, and the only other indication of specs of the system was given away by NVIDIA. Yes, the Nintendo Switch uses NVIDIA Tegra. It uses a newer version, not specifically stated to be. They did not say exact specs of it, but it is a new custom version of the Tegra chip. Uh, the only personal issue I have with the Tegra chips is that they're physically a little larger, they're a little higher energy usage, which potentially means that the Nintendo Switch might not have terribly long battery life. It might be somewhere in the range of the Nintendo, like 4 hours, okay? So, 4 or less hours. So it's most likely going to be on the short side, which kind of makes sense because I am still kind of right on the point into with what I said before, that Nintendo has stated that this is a home gaming system with mobile features. So to be to the point, people are thinking this is a mobile system with home console features. It is more or less around the opposite end. It's a home console that you can take on the go, and the importance of this feature of that point is that the focus is home gaming. You're at home playing video games. You have the tablet section in the dock station, and you're mostly playing games, and then you want to go somewhere quickly, and you have an hour or two to play a game, or you're riding somewhere for 30 or 40 minutes, so you get in the car, you go that place. Most of the video in the trailer was someone going somewhere, like in a 30-minute trip, and then coming back or appearing at a place for a moment and playing someone. And it does concern me just a little bit that the Nintendo Switch is going to be short on the battery lifespan. And I'm not entirely certain as to what you can do to expand the battery lifespan. It could be like a PlayStation 4 controller or a PlayStation 3 controller where the battery pack is inside the shell. You have to take off the back side of the controller just to get it. Where Nintendo was very nice in the case of the Wii U and had the battery on the back side. I still have a standard battery for my Wii U gamepad. No big hairy. Now, a lot of people have noticed, by the way, in the case of the games, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild looks beautiful. Some people think that there's slowdown in the mobile hand section. That may just be theatrical slowdown. You know what I mean by theatrical slowdown is that when uh, an enemy, which is literally the scene, what there's happening is a gigantic moblin is standing up in front of Link. It may be theatrical slowdown, which increases the intensity of the moment. So it may not be lagging, it's just how it's presented to create a effect. Uh, there's also just the fact that it could just simply be just how they recorded or how they recorded and edited the video itself. The next game after Legend of Zelda is Skyrim Special Edition. By the way, the Nintendo NX is already a must-buy for me. Nintendo NX. Nintendo Switch. See, first and foremost, as I said before, the name Nintendo Switch is not a favorite on me. Uh, but there could be worse. It could be like the Nintendo Focus, which is even worse. Uh, but the next thing, as I was basically saying, is the Skyrim Special Edition looks good. It's at least on par with the PS4, Xbox One equivalent. That is cool. I definitely will buy it for Legend of Zelda. I'm going to try to buy it day one for the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Skyrim Special Edition, and as well for Splatoon. The next game after Skyrim Special Edition was basically Mario Kart, which is either Mario Kart 8 or Mario Kart 9. Most people are thinking Mario Kart 8 with new features. I'm not entirely certain. There has been a few years between now and Mario Kart 8, so there may actually be a Mario Kart 9, and we were just simply seeing a racetrack that was brought from Mario Kart 8 into Mario Kart 9. Because there is a bunch of new features. And then after that is, by the way, I will buy Mario Kart or whatever it is, because I enjoy Mario Kart about as much as I enjoy Gran Turismo and a few other racing games. The next thing after that is the NBA 2K17 or 2K18 or whatever. I'm not sure. Most people think it's NBA 2K17. That is not a buy for me unless I happen to be at a garage sale and it happens to be in a pile of games and I buy the whole box for $20. That is basically how I acquire my sports games in my video game collection. It's basically a box load and it just happens to be in there. I don't care for sports too much. The next thing after that is the new Mario game. That looks really interesting. It is an interesting viewpoint behind Mario. I am most definitely interested in getting that. There is definitely a Mexican motif in one stage and something else in another. I'm just going to get it straight up. There's most likely also going to be a classic style new Super Mario Brothers game, a 2D one as well. But there we go. And then after that is Splatoon, which is another day one buy for me. By the way, this is clearly an entirely new Splatoon or an updated version of Splatoon from the Wii U that just happens that they only show new stages and a bunch of new things. So you got new hairstyles, most definitely for boy and girl inklings. Hopefully you can buy pants, and It is shown that you can verse people one-on-one. You can take your Nintendo Switch gamepad and your Joy-Con controls, Joy-Con as in Joy controllers, uh, with you, and you could play Splatoon in a group of people somewhere else. So there is that LAN party multiplayer aspect to the Nintendo Switch. As for me, I'm a perpetual forever alone guy. It's like the only possibility of me playing video games with anyone is that they just happen to I happen to be playing online with my Nintendo Wii U or my Nintendo 3DS, and I just happen to be playing with other people that randomly pop in. Uh, it's that, or I might play video games with my coworkers if they just happen to get a Nintendo Switch as well. Uh, I don't really think that's likely because most of my coworkers, let's just say, they're kind of busy with other things. So there you go. As for the gaming system itself, relative comparison to the Wii U gamepad, besides what I said before, that minus this top edge here and this bottom edge here, that this stick is swapped for this, and this has been segmented, and that is clearly so you can play. Use one stick here and use the segmented buttons here, and that when you flip it, when you use the other side when playing, you have the analog stick here, and you have other segmented buttons there, and that is why it is offset on this side with this on the Nintendo Switch. The right side is swapped to the bottom, so when you take the Joy-Con controllers, you have the analog stick here and the four buttons here. So that way, no matter which controller you have, it's the same gameplay. As for the Nintendo Switch, there is two shoulders and two trigger shoulders. The game card sits up here. There is a headphone jack, roughly in the same area. There's potentially a few other connections in there. There's large vents. Considering that it is using the NVIDIA Tegra, and that it is a fairly powerful. It's a true home gaming console system that it is a true home gaming console system that happens to have portable features. Oh yeah, I was going to pull out my PS Vita, and by the way, many people are comparing it to the PS Vita in a few aspects, but that is size comparison between the two. And this is a size comparison between in the Nintendo Wii U gamepad and the Sega Game Gear. But yeah, it has a kickstand. It has all kinds of little fun things. It's by the way, if you notice, I'm a little tired. It is 12:16 right now. It is late. But as I said before, the system is in mobile mode. It is going to be. It's going to still be very powerful due to the heavily customized NVIDIA Tegra. Not exactly certain whether it's based off the X1 or the X2. Most likely based off the X2. That would afford it more central processing unit power. Nothing was really changed changed in the GPU side, except for the fact that this happens to be updated version of that, so we don't exactly know entirely, but it's still it's a heavier energy usage chip than most of the newer stuff. So there's a bunch of questions in that. As I keep kind of circling back to, my concern on the mobile end of the Nintendo Switch is basically battery life. Uh, and there's a bunch of rumors jumping around about other things about it, but let's not run too far into it. By the way, some of the rumors indicate that the Nintendo Switch has a 32 gigabyte, the mobile component of it has a 32 gigabyte storage capacity. Uh, that is okay for most mobile games, but in this modern day and age, some games actually take up that 32 gigabytes. So if it does truly indeed have just a 32 gigabyte internal storage, uh, there most definitely needs to be expansion to that. And the dock station most likely will have a larger storage area inside of it for more games. Uh, there's still a lot of questions. Also, by the way, official note from Nintendo, they are basically not going to talk much more about. They themselves are not going to have many more official news releases or trailers about the Nintendo Switch till next year. So Nintendo's not going to talk much more about the Nintendo Switch until 2017. Okay. Uh, Other than that, we might hear more about video game from third-party developers. The question is whether Nintendo releases them from the NDA, which is possibly why Bethesda and 2K basically gave their response to Polygon. It's that, or they just gave that response to Polygon because it's Polygon. It's shit. Uh, and if you were to actually read their response that both companies gave, it is basically we are not confirming anything other than the fact we are partnered with Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. Almost the exact same wording between both of the companies. So it's basically like a card Nintendo gave them. Here you go, insert your name, insert the company's name on the card, fill the blank in. Someone calls you up about the system, this is what you tell them. So there you go. I'll put these back. Also, let's reconsider one of the rumors that kind of got tied into the mobile handheld, the mobile console hybrid concept was that there will be within the first 6 months a Zelda, Mario, and Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch, for the Nintendo NX, which is now called the Nintendo Switch. We basically know of Legend of Zelda: The Breath of the Wild. We have seen gameplay images of a untitled Super Mario game, but there's no Pokemon yet. Uh, Next week, the 26th, is Nintendo's investor meeting. There might be some more information that pops up there about the Nintendo Switch and a few other things. Nintendo likes to screw with people and say something and then do something else. Which is kind of why I kind of didn't favor the Integra rumor as well. Because, well, I should also consider, it's Arlo, the cute little Muppet, has a nice video about the point is that Nintendo is the master of left field tactics. When you expect them to do something crazy, they don't do something crazy. They give you just basic, just straight on obvious answer, and then when you expect them to give you the straight on obvious answer, they give you something crazy. So Nintendo could have just said it that and left it at that, and then so there is next week the 26th, which is the Nintendo investor meeting, but on the 27th of October is the next update, news update about Pokemon Sun and Moon. And considering that the Nintendo Switch is going to be the next Nintendo console handheld thing, which brings questions about what kind of timetable in which the Nintendo 3DS is going to be phased out, or whether it's just going to stay around forever. And this will be Nintendo's entry handheld system. Nintendo Switch is going to be the premium handheld gaming experience console system with premium handheld enjoy fun. A whole bunch of questions about that. But there's that rumor about a Pokemon game, and by the way, the CEO president of the Pokemon company has stated that there will be a Pokemon game for the Nintendo Switch or the NX when he said it. But I will remind everyone yet again that there has been Pokemon games for the Nintendo Wii and the Wii U and the GameCube and the N64, and that these games were spin-offs. Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Rumble, Pokemon Park, Hey You Pikachu, all kinds of stuff. So whether it's a mainline Pokemon game or a spin-off or a side game like Stadium or Revolution, cannot be for certain. Uh, all I can say is that we just simply have to uh, watch for any more rumors, bits of information that pop up here and there by various partners with Nintendo, and wait till the next major Nintendo update on the Nintendo Switch. And yet again, I'm sorry for being so late, but I work at a scrapyard. I have a long day. I watched the Nintendo Switch unveiling in the morning, and then I had to run to work, and then I stack batteries and do all kinds of stuff all day, and then get home tired, take a quick nap, wake up, and then do this video after I do some errands and a few other things. So, thank you so much for watching my video. Please consider hitting the subscribe button and hitting the like button and sharing this video to other people. And if anything else, if you dislike this video or have any other thoughts about anything in this video, please put them in the comments below. And I'm really interested in seeing what you think about this. And thank you so much. Thank you, and have a good evening.